likes to stand still, and then the legs are still here. That's what I was just talking to John Turner about the bed last. There are the two changes. Yeah, but that's not going to help me now. The magnitude of it is one win for Kipper, or what win? Who won who?
That's all we're getting.
This year? Hey, can I get your season tickets?
I'm still going.
Did you give me? You changed seats, some of you.
No, I didn't.
You did
I
too.
swear I
You
didn't.
get me. I never had this
I
ripped
don't
chair.
have-
I never had this ripped chair.
Talked to your maintenance
I
agent.
never had this ripped chair.
Oh,
You dog, you.
I did not. I swear I did. That was what you know. I always mark my seats with my purse, so I get it right.
You took, switched.
Would not do that.
Did too. You switched on me. I'll see you. You want to play poker?
I'm good at poker.
Are you?
What do
Yes,
want
sir.
to
No, no.
play?
Let's play.
Maybe you want 5 card? What
What do you want? 5 or you want to go
We'll do 5 card.
5 card? Which one?
5.
You want one?
We need money for progress.
How about 5 cards only?
5 card.
Okay, what do you got? Take out your dollar.
Take up my
Hey,
dollar.
Wait, I know your $100.
Vicky.
Yes.
Or
Oh, my phone. Thank you. Do you
Ready?
still need it, Mayor?
I don't want $5. We're playing
No,
poker.
we're
We're playing poker.
poker.
Well, I'll play you 5 if you want.
Hold on, let me see if I have more singles, because I stole this from Tom. Because I didn't know I had singles. So what do you, so wait, what do you?
That's it right there.
That's
Single.
right.
We're playing. Ready?
All right, what do you, what do you
5
do?
card.
5 cards,
Okay.
okay, so,
What do you got?
oh,
Talking on a dollar.
on the dollar. All right,
What do you got?
I got, you went with the first 5, 1,
No, not the first 5. Any 5.
and 5, so I got, ooh, 3, I got full house.
Well, whatever what?
I got 9 silver.
I got 5 over 4.
There you go, winner.
Lost that dollar quick.
You should know better than to play with a Polish Irish.
A Polish Irish girl. What a combo that is.
It's called Cerebral, baby. It's called Cerebral.
Excuse me, I didn't have any
Sacred
mints
Heart
from
or
our attorney. Nothing came this way. Nothing. No mints came this way.
No, he did. I ate it.
And I have a bet. I have a bet with the clerk. Over under.
Over
Hour
under?
20.
Oh, you gotta go over on that. You gotta go over.
I got Bob Merriman. I have to agent a hole. I got Bob Merriman coming.
Come on, you gotta go over. I'm going over on that. Is it fair for me to bet I can make it over? Is it fair? Is it fair for me to bet I can make it over?
No.
Well, the mayor's coming.
And you think I do nothing.
Never said that. It takes some goading. No, I'm just kidding.
You used to be my friend.
I'm teasing. Hey, we did this without having to pay, right?
Right.
Thank you.
From going to
1,500, right? Did you actually like him?
I know.
You know him, right? How?
I'm going to his breakfast.
He has a breakfast? I didn't get invited to no breakfast.
You want to go? Keep me. I'll get you. We're getting an award.
Oh, man.
Get a bronze award for.
Oh, yeah? Oh, we did the bronze.
We did the bronze.
Okay, cool.
I did the bronze. You didn't do the bronze.
You got the man.
You didn't bring me the
With
man.
a
I got the bronze award, and you did nothing.
Wait a minute, I'm on admin and finance. I'm just going
You gotta make sure I'm going.
Who's moving this presentation?
I make a motion. We're already. Tara, we're late already. Tara.
This is going to cut into your over-under.
Over, under, over, under.
The ladder's ready for you.
I know, I saw it. We were a little scared.
Except she's going at heaven. Cupola. Hey, Wayne. But in the cupola.
It's here, we just got it.
Yeah. Phyllis? Who's that go to?
That goes straight all the way down to the.
Yeah, I heard. Who told me?
Oh, I did.
Okay.
Whenever you're
You all
ready.
set? Good evening, everyone. Would everyone please stand for a short prayer and a salute to our flag? Almighty God, grant us the wisdom to make those decisions that are in the best interest of all our residents. May the Heavenly Father of us all bless those who have given the ultimate sacrifice in service to our nation, and may He watch over and protect our service men and women now guarding the gates of freedom. Salute to our flag. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Terry, a statement of publication.
Yes, Mayor, take notice that this regular meeting of the Mayor and Borough Council being held on this 8th day of May 2017 has been advertised and posted in accordance with Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975.
Roll call.
Councilpersons Buchanan.
Here.
Grillo.
Here.
Kilpatrick. Here. Lembo. Melendez.
Here.
Novak.
Here.
At this time, I'm going to call forward the captain of the VFW Honor Guard, Ken Kelly, to read the Poppy proclamation.
Then you're going to present it to them? You want them to read it?
I'll try my best. This podium there?
Please.
Microphone, please.
Ken, if you want to turn, if you feel more comfortable turning and facing the audience and the camera, please do.
Okay,
so.
thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, fellow veterans. Proclamation. Whereas the annual distribution of Buddy Poppies by the veterans of foreign wars of the United States has been officially recognized and endorsed by governmental leaders since 1922, and whereas VFW Buddy Poppies are assembled by disabled veterans, and the proceeds of this worthy fundraising campaign are used exclusively for the benefit of disabled and needy veterans and the widows and orphans of deceased veterans. And whereas the basic purpose of the annual distribution of Buddy Poppies by the veterans of foreign wars is eloquently reflected in the desire to, quote, honor the dead by helping the living, end quote. Now therefore I, Kennedy O'Brien, Mayor of the Borough of Sayreville, do hereby urge the citizens of this community to recognize the merits of this cause by contributing generously to its support through the purchase of Buddy Poppies on the day set aside for the distribution of these symbols of appreciation for the sacrifices of our honored dead. I urge all patriotic citizens to wear a Buddy Poppy as mute evidence of our gratitude to the men and women of this country who have risked their lives in defense of the freedoms which we continue to enjoy as American citizens. Witness whereof I have caused this proclamation to be issued and the official seal of the borough duly affixed this 8th day of May, 2017, and same duly attested by the municipal clerk.
Thank you, Ken.
Thank you, Mayor.
Mayor, I move the proclamation be approved.
Oh, roll call.
Councilpersons Buchanan.
Yes.
Grillo.
Yes.
Kilpatrick.
Yes.
Lembo.
Yes.
Melendez.
Yes.
Novak.
Yes.
Those hundreds are thicker. Thank you.
I got this side, Ken.
That's all. We're all set. Mr. Mayor, members of the council, thank you very much. Borough officials, we appreciate it.
Thank you, veterans of Sayreville. Thank you, veterans of the United States of America. Ricky? If the governing body would come up to the rail, please. The next order of business is the recognition for Patty Birch Fausto.
You see what I gave you? Yeah. When are they? That was a long game. 2 o'clock in the morning. I know.
Thank you, everyone. So this is Patty Birch Faustos, which everyone knows because she's been running Sayreville Day for 20 years. She started when she was 10. And on behalf of myself and the mayor, for her 20 years of dedicated service as chairperson of the Sayreville Day Committee, your efforts have enriched us generously because a community possesses no greater treasure than the dedicated service of people like you. Congratulations.
Patty, we'd just like to thank you for your many years of service. I can imagine how many countless hours you volunteer to Sayreville, and it's volunteerism like this that makes Sayreville work. So we thank you very much for your years of service.
I didn't call. I just gave you the information.
Patty, every year was a great year. We'd come up and say hello to you, and you'd be a little frazzled, a little angry, but that was just showing how dedicated you were to making it a great day. And every year after year, it was a bigger and greater day. So thank you, and you will be missed.
Patty, not just for Sayreville Day, I mean for everything you've done for the town with the recreation department. I've known you in all different aspects, and I'm sure your parents are really smiling down right now.
Patty, it's 20 years to put that much service and volunteerism into just one event, but then additionally on top of everything else you do. It's inspiring. I hope that residents watching will turn around and say, if she can do 20 years, I can definitely do a couple of hours here and there. So great, great accomplishments, and just thank you as always for everything you do.
Patty, thank you for your commitment to Sayreville Day and Sayreville, of course, and I wish you the best of luck going forwards. Take it easy.
Patty, thank you for 2 decades of selfless service to the borough. Job well done. We wish you the very best in all your future endeavors. Everyone, Patty Birch Fausto.
Terry wanted to know if she could take off another 3 weeks. Absolutely. She's got to get back to the Coppertown town. Remote control. No, you're not. 2 weeks you have a meeting.
With that, Terry, we'll go to old business.
Yes, Mayor, under old business, we have the public hearing on the following ordinances. Ordinance number 360-17, bond ordinance amending ordinance number 195-12, finally adopted October 9, 2012 by the Borough of Sayreville, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, in order to provide for a change in the improvements authorized by such ordinance.
At this time, I'm going to open the public portion for questions or comments on ordinance 360-17. Are there any questions or comments? Being no questions or comments, I'll entertain a motion. Councilwoman Novak.
I move the public hearing be closed, the ordinance adopted on second and final reading and advertised according to law.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilpersons Novak,
Yes.
Buchanan,
Yes.
Grillo,
Yes.
Kilpatrick,
Yes.
Lembo,
Yes.
Melendez.
Yes.
Public hearing on ordinance number 361-17, an ordinance amending and supplementing Chapter 7 of the revised general ordinances of the Borough of Sayreville to amend Section 7-10.1, turn prohibitions.
This time, I'm going to open the public portion for questions or comments on ordinance 361-17. Are there any questions or comments? There being no questions or comments, I'll entertain a motion. Councilman Lembo.
Nope, this one's me.
Oh, I'm sorry, Councilman Grillo.
I move the public hearing be closed, the ordinance adopted on second and final reading and advertised according to law.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilpersons Grillo?
Yes.
Buchanan?
Yes.
Kilpatrick?
Yes.
Lembo?
Yes.
Melendez?
Yes.
Novak?
Yes.
Public hearing on ordinance number 361-17, an ordinance amending and supplementing Chapter 14, Water and Sewer of the revised general ordinances of the Borough of Sayreville.
This time, I'm going to open the public portion for questions or comments on ordinance 362-17. Are there any questions or comments? There being no questions or comments, I'll entertain a motion. Council President.
Mayor, I move the public hearing be closed, the ordinance adopted on second and final reading, and advertised according to law.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilpersons Buchanan?
Yes.
Grillo?
Yes.
Kilpatrick?
Yes.
Lembo?
Yes.
Melendez?
Yes.
Novak?
Yes.
Mayor, under new business, we have the introduction of the following ordinances. Ordinance number 363-16, an ordinance of the Borough of Sayreville, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, to supplement and amend Chapter 35, entitled Affordable Housing Ordinance, to implement the Borough of Sayreville's Housing Plan Element and Fair Share Plan.
Mayor, if I may, we received these ordinances on Friday. I know we discussed some of them the other night at our meeting. However, I don't know if everyone has had the opportunity of checking the 4 ordinances versus the original 4 ordinances, as well as I know Councilman Grillo had a few questions that I didn't see answers to. So at this time, I'm going to ask that the 4 ordinances be held over.
Is there a second? Second. Roll call.
Councilpersons Buchanan?
Yes.
Grillo?
Yes, it's come to my attention from the borough attorney that some of my colleagues, whereas all of us did not see the red line version. And I do just want to go on record that Mr. Leon Cavello answered my questions in person, but he will get that out in email.
Okay.
I'm satisfied with the answers, and they register with what we had discussed. He just didn't get a chance. But yes, if it's the will of my colleagues to hold over, I will, based on that administrative issue.
Kilpatrick?
Yes.
Lembo? Yes. Melendez?
Yes, can I ask a question, Mr. Cabello? Yes. If you don't mind, we just got these and I was going through them. The housing liaison position, from what I read, it says it needs to be a person that is a borough employee that needs to be assigned this responsibility. I mean, that's what it says, so that's what my question is. Is it, or is it?
It should be changed.
Microphone, please.
There were a number of things with
That's what I figured.
Fair Share Housing and Co-op 3 or 4 years ago, and I think I became the housing liaison for the planning board and the borough. I don't know if that was the 1 year and then it was automatic for the other years.
We'll have it reviewed, John.
Yeah, because it does say municipal employee. So, and I'm wondering if that's a paid position or is that?
I've been doing it as a consultant.
Okay.
But there was only it was done for some training purposes that needed to be done for COA down in Trenton, so I went and fulfilled those training purposes.
All right, so those are the things we need to go over in the next couple of weeks.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Kilpatrick?
Yes.
Melendez?
Yes.
Sorry. And Novak, I'm sorry.
Now, this is for all 4 of these ordinances? Okay.
So that'll be covering ordinance number 363, 364, 365, and 366 to be held over.
Okay. Consent agenda items, I will open the public portion for questions or comments. Are there any questions or comments on the consent agenda items? Being no questions or comments, I'll entertain a motion.
Mayor, Mayor, I move that public portion be closed and the consent agenda resolutions be approved on roll call vote.
Second.
Councilperson Buchanan?
Yes.
Grillo?
Yes.
Kilpatrick?
Yes.
Lembo?
Yes.
Melendez?
Yes.
Novak?
Yes.
Okay, we have matters of personnel and litigation.
Yes.
We're going to go into executive session.
Yes, whereas, Mayor, this public body deems it's necessary to go into public session, whereas this by our Mayor and Council hereby resolves as follows: a public portion of this hereby adjourned in order that the governing body may meet in closed private session for approximately 10 minutes to discuss the following matters: personnel and litigation. Following the conclusion of said closed session, the governing body shall reconvene, and the open portion public meeting shall be considered. Minutes will be kept, and once a matter involving the confidentiality of the above no longer requires that confidentiality, then minutes can be made public. Now therefore be it resolved, the public be excluded, and this resolution shall take effect immediately.
Mayor, I move the resolution be approved.
Second.
Roll call?
Councilpersons Buchanan?
Yes.
Grillo?
Yes.
Kilpatrick?
Yes.
Lembo? Melendez?
Yes.
Novak?
Yes.
Bob, if you would.
Whoops, sorry. Sorry, Dan.
Michael, what is this about? What is this about? We had that just at the last.
I was,
Said litigation.
you know.
Not quite sure, Mayor, if I can fit through.
This is not good. Anything on there?
Ready, Terry? I make a motion that we reconvene.
Is
Second.
there a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, with that, I'm going to go to the public portion for questions or comments on any and all issues. Are there any questions? Yes, Heather?
Good evening. My name is Heather. I live on Zaleski. Okay, so I was unable to make the special meeting on last Monday. A little concerned, I guess, about what had transpired. So I took it upon myself to do a little research on our code of ordinances here for the borough of Sayreville. And, you know, I guess I'm kind of posing this to the council and to the mayor. There were two things in which I think might be potentially bad in regards to the way the vote went. As the mayor had mentioned, there are two council people who had vested interests, I guess, in how many individuals were hired. So according to our code of ethics, 10-8.3, it talks about the conflicts of interest. If you need, I can read it. And then also, at 10-8.10, it talks about the improper use of official position to benefit oneself or someone that they know. It's been my experience knowing individuals who serve on Board of Education that when there's someone that they know that's involved in a hiring, potential hiring, a list, whatever the case is, that they recuse themselves from that vote. So I'm just a little concerned that, you know, that vote might not have been what's in the best interest of Sayreville. And I'd kind of like to pose it out to the board to see what your thoughts are on
Mayor,
it.
if I may?
Go ahead.
Please.
We had discussions at the last meeting regarding vacancies of police officers. In 2016, we had 92 officers. We're currently at 86. So we're down 6 people from last year. Okay, so the discussions that we had were regarding, should we hire, do we consider those vacancies or not? Okay, the council came to a consensus that there were 5 vacancies. Okay, so we're recuperating those 5 vacancies. The outside discussions were about the council, were about the civil service lists and which lists to use. That wasn't what was on my agenda anyhow. We need to make sure that we're filled with our police officers and that the vacancies are filled. We have two people
And
that
I
are
understand
retiring.
that, but I also believe that it was the recommendation of the police chief to hire 3 individuals. And also knowing that you guys are going off the old list and the new list was issued on 3/31, it's just a little concerning that it was put up for a vote knowing that there were vested interests. And I just, going forward, I don't know if that should hold the weight that I think it would normally. And I don't know what, you know, I'm looking to the council to see if that vote was in good standing.
If I could ask the mayor, I mean the attorney,
Yeah, you're referring to an executive session that occurred on Monday?
and then it came out into open.
No, we came out and took a vote
And
on the number of vacancies.
okay, and the vote,
You weren't here.
no, I wasn't
You
here.
should review the tape.
Okay, yeah, you know what I'll do, ma'am, is I'll speak to you after the end of the meeting. Yeah, and then I'll take a look at it.
Fantastic. Thank you.
What I can tell you is, our guidelines seem pretty lax compared to, I know I spent 6 years on the Board of Education. On the Board of Ed, not only could you not vote, you couldn't even be in the room for a discussion on anything.
That's correct.
Even remotely involving a family member, so we
Family
are
member, close
kind of lax in
relation,
our
there's a
guidelines.
conflict of interest that takes place. My brother's an attorney, so maybe it runs in the family a little, but You know, I just want to know that what's being done is done for the best interest of Sayreville. And thank you, Mr. Grillo and Mr. Lembo, for voting on side of our police chief. If it's his recommendation, I think he would know what's best. So, but yes, please, let's talk after.
Thank
Thank
you. Are there any other,
I'd just like to say one thing, without talking about what happened in closed session. The police chief never made any recommendations as to the number. That number 3 came from the mayor, not from the police chief.
are there any other questions or comments during the open public portion? Yes, sir.
How you doing? Good evening, Mayor, Council President, Council members. My name's Carl Tottoli. I live at 12 Devonshire Road. The last 2 weeks, I reached out to the Road Surface Committee about getting the infrastructure repaved on Devonshire. Thank you. I really appreciate it. No, I just want to come up here. I talked to my residents on my street in the area. I started out on my street thinking about going to around the 5 streets that are in my development, which is right by Patriot Hills and Robin Hood Way, which is Avon Way, Nottingham Drive, Apcott Circle, and Stratford Road, and then Devonshire, which is a dead end. I really want to thank for the council members that reached out to the road department for getting the potholes fixed. It's really appreciated. In the area, Devonshire, there's a lot of kids. There's about 20 kids in the area that comes onto the dead-end street and plays. We have basketball hoops and everything. And it's a little safe environment. It's like a safe haven for the kids. They come and they play. The houses were built, I know I put in my report about 30 years ago. After doing more research, they were almost 45 years ago, so the roads are almost 50 years old, and they haven't been touched or repaved, besides being potholed. So there's been a lot of kids getting hurt lately, riding their bicycles, running down and up the street. I do have residents here in the area.
How are they getting hurt?
From riding their bikes, falling with a lot of gravel. You can actually go on our street where there's spider cracks everywhere. You can actually go pick up pieces, chunks of the road. You know, if you really
It's causing them to fall off the bikes or the skateboards.
Yes, you know, it's just
catching
like
their
riding your
toes in
bike
it.
on a sandy area.
I'm going to give instructions that that road be inspected before the end of this week. If you would leave your contact information
Can I
with
interrupt?
with the clerk, we'll make sure you're copied on the report. Go ahead, Councilwoman.
Well, first of all, thank you, because I received a couple of emails. That's already been taken care of, Mayor.
All right.
As soon as I got the first email, then I got a second, I got a letter to my house. I act quick. And I already had contacted Mr. Bailey over the weekend, and then I called him again this morning. And I just wanted to give you an update. At 10:39 in the morning today, complaint number R660 was generated on behalf of the complaints that were put in. Acting Road Supervisor Tony Jankowski already made a site inspection this morning. He has instructed his employees, first of all, just to hot patch the potholes that were there because we don't want any more injuries. One of the emails had stated that a boy had gotten hurt twice, had actually received stitches. So, yes, so I responded to you. I did. I responded to you, and I responded to, say your last name again?
Totally. I didn't get another email. I'm the one that
Yeah.
sent the petition out.
Okay, yeah,
with
I
the
didn't get
pictures.
that one. I only got 2. I don't think it was you, but I did
Yeah,
email.
put the wrong email in.
That, maybe, it could be, but I did get 2 other ones, so I wanted to respond quick. In addition to having the potholes immediately addressed, because that's something we can do
Which
quickly.
you did, and thank you so much.
Yeah, and they're gonna go back out. They didn't, I don't think they did that yet today. They're going to go back and fix that as well. Then they're gonna have the street sweeper come after they fill those potholes, because that's gonna get, you know, that little grit. The road, and then I asked for road rankings, because that's usually how we handle things here in the borough. So your road ranking is number 78 on the engineer's list. Currently, we're repaving rankings at 67. So the way that the ranking looks, it looks as though there are approximately 90 roads that are in, believe it or not, even worse condition. However, and there's also something called a monolithic curb, so you have like that concrete curb. Before I came into this council meeting, before we started, I did double check with our engineer, with Jay Cornell, about this particular street. I had mentioned that one and another one. So I think that, and I did drive by myself too to take a look and see what it looked like. So the curbs are the responsibility, we know by ordinance, of the homeowner. However, we're going to send the guys out there again. Once they do that, sweep it up and stuff and see what else that we can do. I don't know if the whole road is completely warrants a complete repaving. I don't know. That's not my thing. But at the very least, we got to keep kids from getting hurt. That's a safe. Yeah. Yeah. So that's why they're going to come out. That's not my area of expertise. I just bring them the info. The most important thing is the complaint was already documented, and that's the best way to get things done, because the higher the complaints, the more likely you'll move up on that road list of repair too. So I did address it quickly. Bernie's on the case. Thank you for coming tonight, because you know what they say, squeaky wheel.
No,
And
I
we'll see
really
what we
think-
can do.
The last couple of years, I've been just reaching out to the roads department, and
Yeah.
it only gets you so far. So I was like, you know what,
Agreed.
let me try a different route and reach out to you guys. And thank you for filling the potholes, but
Yeah.
you know, for the hazard, you know, with the kids, it needs to be addressed.
As soon as I
You
saw
know, I'm
that
out
one-
there with my leaf blower trying to blow all the gravel off, and
Yeah,
then
you're
here
probably
I am
pulling up
digging
road.
all- yeah,
Yeah.
you know, just to help the kids. But thank you again, and hopefully this can be addressed.
So, I'll
can
keep-
I submit? For the council members that did not get the petition for Devonshire,
If you
can I
would
submit
give
that
it
into
to
the-
Terry here.
Yeah, to submit in the minutes. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Jim?
When did you get it? I never got, oh, you're on Public Works. Okay. Because I can say I didn't see it.
Thank you very much, Mayor, members of the council, Jim Robinson, 11 Burrell Square. Once again, I want to thank the governing body for meeting with the special master on the affordable housing issue, Betsy McKenzie. I know it's everyone's goal to fulfill our affordable housing obligations in the least onerous way possible, and I believe she's going to be a big help. I appreciate all of you that are, or those of you who are working so hard on it. Mr. DuPont, I asked you for some numbers the other day, and I had them by 9 o'clock the following morning, so I very much appreciate that. I do have a couple questions because there's some things that I don't understand about this process. And I have heard from the judge when I was in the court 2 times, and from the special master, who I've had some conversations with, that Kaplan or K-Land is an intervener. And as an intervener, they have certain rights and protections. What I don't know, and I would guess that the council may not even know, is exactly what are those rights and what are those protections. Does it have to do with the density, the location, the number of units, the kinds of units?
Jim, because it's in litigation, the attorney will answer the question.
Okay, fine. And
You
the
know what,
second part of my question.
Well, I think I can answer that pretty quickly, and that is since Mr. Sachs is not here this evening, you know, I'm not going to answer that particular question because he's been in, I don't have the pleadings in front of me, so that question.
Okay, and I don't really need an answer to that tonight, but I think if you're attempting to resolve the problem, it would be good to define the problem. So I would appreciate either an email or something in writing
Sachs will deal with that.
about exactly what those rights are that Kaplan or K-Land has. You know, we had a wonderful proclamation for the Buddy Poppies earlier, and that talked about one of the things in your well-written resolution, Mayor, was honoring the dead by serving the living, and one of the ideas that was put forth was affordable housing for disabled veterans, and I'm just wondering whether or not that agreement or those protections that K-Land or Kaplan or anybody else has would allow those things instead of the other kind of housing that we're talking about. The other thing I would ask is, and I know it was not introduced, but Ordinance 366 or potential Ordinance 366 talks about the bulk requirements, the setback, the open space, the height, et cetera, and it was different for different parcels. For instance, for some it's 50 feet, for some it's 25 feet, For some, it's 20 feet. And I know we shouldn't be discussing that now. Well, actually, as we found, we can discuss something even if it wasn't introduced, if it was pulled from the agenda or tabled.
Well, I guess, Mr. Robin,
We can do that, okay. So that's what I'm doing.
Well, wait a minute. Let's have the attorney answer
Mr.
the
Robinson,
question.
right
Wait,
now-
I didn't ask the question yet.
No, you're looking to ask a question, so let's establish the protocol, Jim, all right? So this way, we don't get into any yelling matches tonight.
Right now, Mr. Robinson, right, we have no ordinances before us.
Okay.
So if you're asking about specific requirements of an individual ordinance, you know, I'm going to refrain from answering that.
Fine, I
know that
understand
Mr. Leon Cavello is our planner right there. You can certainly speak to him, you know, during our intermission or during the
What
following-
I'm really asking is when and if these ordinances are developed, that the setback, as much as possible, be uniform. Some are 50, some are 25, some are 20. I think it would be in everybody's best interest if we used a higher standard. I don't know if there are differences with respect to open space. I know the terrains are different, but I would hope that that be the standard too. I mean, if you're going to be building these things, and I hope that we're going to be able to do these alternatives, which are much better and preferable to what we have been talking about and what the planning board did recommend. But I would hope if we're going to do that, we would allow as much open space as possible and as great a setback as possible. Okay, so whether it's this ordinance or some potential ordinance, I would hope that they would be uniform and that they would be the greater number rather than the smaller. I do have another question about the process because truly I don't understand this. As I said, it was explained to me that Kaplan intervened, so he is a part of this, so he has those certain rights. Mako sought to intervene, and the town objected, so he is not a part of this process, so he has no rights. And I understand, I've heard anyway, that there's discussion about settling the lawsuit that has cost us $1.2 million in legal fees as of January. I don't know what that number is up to. I see it's on the bill list for a little bit today. And the rumor is that he's going to, part of the settlement is he's going to be able to build warehouses there.
You know, Mr.
So we'll
Mr.
wait
Robinson,
to see what that is.
Mr.
But my
Robinson,
question is this.
I'm not familiar with any type of settlement
Okay.
of Mako, so I don't know where you're getting that information
Okay.
from.
My question is this. Kay didn't intervene. He didn't seek to intervene. His attempt to intervene wasn't turned down, but yet on the numbers that I got the other day, it looks like he is building most of these apartments. And how did that come about?
Well, again, you know, Mr. Robinson, I'm going to ask the mayor and council to refrain to talk about anything with respect to the settlement. What we have here before us this evening were the ordinances that were going to be introduced. However, there was some clarifications that they asked Mr. Leon Cavello to produce, such as the red line version, so they understand the two differences. So with respect to the genesis behind the numbers, I don't know, no one on this dais knows. The person to ask is, you know, Mr. Sachs.
So nobody here knows how Mr. Kay got involved in this and is building.
Well, again,
Did anybody?
Again, with respect to your exclamation point is, you know, again, today, we're not asking to revisit a settlement. We're not asking to discuss numbers. And I'm going to refrain from, have the mayor and council refrain from answering that, only because this evening is that we are really
Okay.
just the ordinances that were before us.
Would you allow them to answer the question if any member of the governing body, including the council and the mayor, had conversations with Mr. Kay about this development, the number of units, where they might go, the number of bedrooms in each unit, or anything like that? Would that be an appropriate question to ask of the mayor, for instance?
I don't think there was any conversations, but, you know.
So we're in.
Okay, all right. Thank you. You know what my fear is? I've said before that the fear is that this is more about helping wealthy developers than it is about people who need affordable housing. So I hope this can be turned around. I have great faith because it looks like you were certainly attempting to do that, and I hope you're moving in that direction. I know you're moving in that direction. I hope it will be fruitful, and I hope you will, those of you who are doing that, will succeed. So thank you very much.
Are there any other questions or comments? Ken?
Ken Olszewski, 108 North Edward Street. I too would like to talk about affordable housing from a little different perspective. I don't think anybody, any reasonable person, is against affordable housing. I think Councilman Grillo, on a tape that I saw, said, you know, can't be against it, it's the law. And I agree with that. My question is, I'm concerned about how we got into the position we're in with the court, et cetera, and the numbers. And my first part of that is something I've asked a couple of times already. Did we get any further info on an affordable housing component in Kaplan Town Lake and the new, was that a part of Town Lake, but the 180 or 85 apartment units? Anybody have
Jay?
Any further info?
Mayor, yes. There's no affordable housing in Town Lake at the present time.
Okay, there's no affordable housing. Yeah, I think that's the part that bothers me. That we're, this is speculation, but, and I'm not going to get into the lawsuit, but, and I talked about this once before, we're going to take off the cap on the zoning law to go to 15 units an acre and limit the height restrictions. And we're going to do this because we didn't comply. You know, Kaplan has been building in Sayreville since I was a young man. And I don't know if you remember the hit Broadway show, Damn Yankees, but there was a song from it. And it went, whatever Lola wants, Lola gets. Sometimes it seems to me that in Sayreville, it's been whatever Kaplan wants, Kaplan gets. And there's no affordable components in this stuff, and you know, I'm still going to wait to see what happens with it. But that's very frustrating, and I think that's a slap to a slap in the face to every resident of this town, if that's the case, that these developers went on and built this housing and took their money and went away, and now we're going to be penalized by jumping through hoops. I guess we can't penalize the developers because we were in the driver's seat to enforce this, and we didn't. And let me expand this a little bit. How have we decided if or if not there's an affordable housing component? For instance, the Club Benet site in Morgan, I'm pretty certain there's an affordable housing component in there. The Point, it appears there's an affordable housing component in there. Is there an affordable housing component in the Gillette project that's going up by the police station? No? Who said?
Jay,
no,
do
who
you
up
know?
here?
Do you know?
There is not at the present time, Mayor. I think there were some discussions recently, but not as it was approved.
Jay, when exactly did the affordable housing law come down from the Supreme Court? Or Superior, come down from the court and these special judges were appointed on a county-by-county basis?
Mayor, I wasn't involved with that end of it. I think that's within the past couple of years that.
And prior to that, was there any pressure to do affordable housing?
Mayor, I wasn't really involved with the affordable housing at the planning board level, so.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd like to change the question from the mayor's question. Was there any pressure? Was it the law? Did anybody pass a law that says, well, you know, or was there something that said, well, we can forget about affordable housing for the present time, or we shouldn't enforce it? Was there anything in the affordable housing law? I'm sure it goes back years and years. Was there any time that officially it was determined that we shouldn't be enforcing that law? That's my real question. Does anybody know the answer to that?
Ken, I think you'd need to go to the planning board and ask them that.
Ken, I was not on the council at the time, but it's my understanding, and there are people checking into it right now, that Kaplan was supposed to set aside 20% for affordable housing, and he did not.
Go to the planning board. I'm asking here, and we have a representative of the planning board, and we have a representative of the planning board last year, a council person, when a lot of this action went on. Do any of you know the answer to that? Is when we stopped enforcing affordable housing?
My understanding, not only for Sayreville, but for all the towns that are involved in various settlements, is that this is a buildup of units that should have been constructed over at least the last 15 years, and I believe it's to 2015. So the 2-year lag time is because we've been in court. So I think at minimum, it goes back to at least 2000, and I think potentially 1997 or 98. So the issue is, I think in its most simplest terms, and I think you're asking the right question, Ken, is what should we have been doing over that 15-year period that resulted in the number of units we have to build? It's that nobody was enforcing the affordable housing mandate that should have been enforced. So you're right. If Kaplan had the obligation to build affordable units and they did not, that's another issue that I'll let the attorney handle. But the genesis of your question is correct. We should have been building affordable units. I've only been sitting up here for 18 months. This goes back to when I was about 12 years old. But, you know, the question is, why were these things not enforced? Those are questions that I can't answer. Maybe you know Sayreville politics a lot longer than I do. But I think that's the issue here is, in its most simplest terms, those units should have been built over the at least 15-year period. They were not. And so now what we're doing is we're building the ones that should have been built.
Well, Councilman, you're talking my language because that's exactly my point. If we are now going to pay because developers got off scot-free, that's a bad thing. I mean, that's a ridiculous thing. And I'd like to get some answers to that, because if that happened, somebody is responsible, and the taxpayers and the voters of this town should know about it. That's my opinion. You know, the great Yankee slugger Reggie Jackson once said, opinions are like noses. Everybody has one. But I think my opinion here is a pretty valid one, and I'd like to get some answers. Thank you very much.
All right, Mike.
Mike Diadio, 13 Zaleski Drive. Jay, let me ask Ken's question in a different way. You answered that there's no affordable housing presently in Town Lake. I sat on the planning board when we approved part of that development, and we did require, as part of the application, that affordable housing was to be built in Town Lake. Now, whether it exists or not now, I agree with, you know, it probably doesn't, and I'll take your word for it, but why doesn't it?
Well, Mayor, if I might, there was one section of Town Lake that had a requirement for affordable housing.
Right.
Originally, it was approved as age restricted. There was a law that was passed where it was allowed to be converted to market rate with an affordable housing component. They made an application to do that before the planning board, I think about 2010. That application was denied by the planning board. It was taken to court. The judge overturned the planning board's decision, did require affordable housing, but there was a negotiated settlement with the planning board where that affordable housing option was removed. So it was settled that the affordable housing did not have to be constructed as part of that last section of Town Lake.
So there's no affordable housing down there because the planning board settled with Kaplan?
That is correct.
That's correct, okay. I just want to get that out on the table. The second part of one other statement, Jay, and Mayor, this is to Jay again. When I was chairman of the zoning board, we had DuPont appear before us for a fencing application, and they had required that they put up barbed wire. That application was denied by the zoning board. And I noticed now that there's a bunch of fencing around DuPont, and there's barbed wire all over the place. And I'd like to know why now there's barbed wire, and when we deny that there shouldn't be, or there shouldn't be any barbed wire. We have an ordinance in Sayreville that barbed wire is not permitted, and yet DuPont has it on their fencing?
I can't answer that. I can check with the zoning officer, because typically when you install fence, you have to get a permit, so I can check to see if there was a permit issued for that fencing.
Well, they did have fencing, and you don't need a permit if you're going to replace your fencing. So they replaced fencing that didn't have barbed wire with fencing that now does have barbed wire. And I know since I've been on the zoning board, they did not come back for a variance to put up that barbed wire. And if the zoning board's blessing it, you know, that's fine, that's their prerogative, they have the authority to do it, but they did not do it. So if DuPont needs or wants barbed wire up on their fencing, they need to come back before the zoning board and request a variance.
That's not my decision. I can check with the zoning officer, see if he's aware of it, and if not, he can look into it, I would assume.
Mr. Frankel?
He'll check with it.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions or comments? Jim?
Thank you, Mayor. Maybe I can be helpful. With that pamphlet I sent you that you didn't get the opportunity to read, it talks about the whole history. In the first 7 pages, it talks about Mount Laurel I, Mount Laurel II. It talks about the 1985 Fair Housing Act. And right on the cover, I don't know if you even got that far, if you opened it or not, but it's entitled, A Guide for Nonprofits and Advocates on Implementing the New Jersey Supreme Court's March 2015 decision on fair share housing. So maybe that's of help.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Being no other questions or comments, I'll entertain a motion to close the public portion.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call?
Councilpersons Buchanan?
Yes.
Grillo?
Yes.
Kilpatrick?
Yes.
Lembo?
Yes.
Melendez?
Yes.
Novak?
Yes.
Motion to adjourn.
No, nothing, no special.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, I'm going to call the agenda portion of the meeting to order. Everyone please stand for a salute to our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Born and unborn.
My copy of the agenda.
No, my, no.
Okay, Terry, a statement of publication, please.
Yes, Mayor, take notice that this agenda session of the Mayor and Borough Council being held on this 8th day of May 2017 has been advertised and posted in accordance with Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975.
Roll call.
Councilpersons Buchanan.
Here.
Grillo.
Here.
Kilpatrick.
Here.
Lembo.
Here.
Melendez.
Here.
Novak.
Council Presidents, as you put these 4 ordinances on hold under the auspices of everyone reading them, did you also want to discuss them tonight or wait till everyone has had a chance to
I
read
think
them?
it'd be best if we just digested it and got the
Okay.
answers.
All right, that being said, we'll go to committee reports, Administration and Finance.
Changes.
Councilwoman Novak.
Mayor, going back to these ordinances, I really would like, as soon as possible, to get an ordinance that shows the highlighted changes, you know, from
Mike?
this one, from the last one.
All right, Dan will inform you, you and Larry Sykes can get together for Mary's request. Next item, Mary.
Okay, there's no minutes. There's application, I'm looking to approve. Application for Bingo Alliances for RJC Charities to conduct an on-premise 50/50 raffle June 4th at Sabre War Memorial High School.
Any objection? Next item.
Mayor, I'd like to request that the bonding ordinances for the road repairs and the vehicles, since the budget has been approved, that they're ready for the next meeting.
Any objection? Any discussion? Next item.
Mayor, other than that, progress, thank you.
Okay, Planning and Zoning, Councilman Lembo.
Thank you, Mayor. Move the following minutes be received and filed. Saraville Planning Board minutes of April 19th. Also to receive and file, Christina Borison to appear before the Planning Board on May 17th for a minor subdivision. And also receive and file Township of East Brunswick amending their zoning ordinance, Chapter 228.
Is there a second on these 2 items, on A and B?
Second.
Next item.
Also to receive and file the Planning Board resolution, which was memorialized on April 19th regarding J.P. Morgan Chase Bank on North Ernston Road.
Same.
Is there a second?
Second.
Next item.
And also need approval for an application for a trailer license received from Northeast Remsco Construction to place 4 temporary construction field office trailers at 53 Canal Street.
Any objection? Anything else, Councilman?
Other than that, progress, Mayor.
Thank you. Public Safety, Councilman Grillo.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, everyone. No reports from me, but I did want to get some information to folks about Hilltop Avenue. The police have concluded their traffic study. It was done April 3rd through April 5th and April 10th through April 12th. There were some concerns about speeding and trucks on the road. I'll put this on my social media so that folks from Hilltop and Lee, because I don't think anyone is here tonight, but they'll have a chance to see it. The police reported that during the 2017 traffic study, an average of 1.01% of vehicles traveling on Hilltop were exceeding the speed or tolerance limit. The average speed was between 22 and 24 miles an hour, depending on the day. They are going to make a recommendation and continue to have stepped-up patrols in the area, both to deal with overweight truck traffic as well as people not stopping at the stop signs. So I appreciate their attention to that. They also looked at one of the options, which was to close off Lee Avenue from Route 9 with a Jersey barrier, which some residents had suggested. The police, after analyzing this, believe that it would be detrimental to the safety of the residents of the borough, so they're not making that recommendation at this time. But I will get this up on my social media so folks can see this. But I thank the police for looking into this. The other thing, I'm glad Devonshire Road was repaved, but I would have appreciated if Bernie Bailey told everybody, since we were all sent emails and we were all sent personal letters. I had no idea.
Dan, if you would instruct Bernie to respond to the council governing body.
It wasn't
and ask-
repaved.
It wasn't repaved.
It wasn't repaved.
I'm sorry, that the
Whatever
potholes
the
were-
work was
Well, I
done,
guess that's the
however it
point.
was responded to, if he would respond, since it was sent to everyone, if he could respond to everyone.
I'm happy it was done, but
Just as an
be in the loop.
FYI.
Well,
Okay, anything else, Councilman?
Progress, Mayor.
Thank you. Public Works, Councilwoman Kilpatrick.
thank you, Mayor. No minutes or departmental reports. However, I do need approval for the authorization of CME to prepare plans and specifications for the rebody and rearm of an existing automatic sanitation vehicle. And upon approval of the plans and specifications, the Borough Clerk is to also herein authorize to advertise for the receipt of bids.
Any objections? Next item.
Also, the receipt of the Shade Tree Commission's action plan for the replanting of trees at the Borough Hall.
Any objection? Anything else, Councilwoman?
And just also in reference to the Shade Tree Commission, they had a planting on April 29th of the seedlings that were left over from the Kennedy Park when they were disseminating that during Arbor Day. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to make it. However, I did get to see a lot of reports, comments, and photos. And hats off again to the Shade Tree Commission. Thank you for everybody for organizing that. And it's nice to see something going up over there that will hopefully grow and let the people of the town know we haven't forgot about them over there. So nicely done.
Anything else?
That's all. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Can I-
Recreation, Councilman Melendez.
Mayor, I just wanted to make a comment on the shade tree. When I was there, I took a white dogwood, and for the first time, I have a white dogwood growing in my yard, so I'm very excited. Every time I've planted one, it's died. So the seedlings that they gave me just might live. I'll have to take pictures yearly so everybody can see.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Recreation, Councilman Melendez.
Thank you, Mayor. Item A, minutes and departmental reports. The Recreation Advisory Board minutes of April 8, 2017.
Is there a second? Next item.
Item B, special event application for Sayreville Soccer Club to conduct annual Father's Day tournament on June 16, 17, 18 at the soccer complex.
Any objection? Next item.
2, RGC Charities to conduct their annual charity car show on June 4th at the high school.
Any objection? Next item.
Item C, authorization to establish recreation programs for this summer. Summer sports camp, games from the street, and the one-week program is $105.
Any
Regular
objection?
$100.
Next,
Just to
anything else?
Yeah, a couple
Councilman?
things. Just to continue on recreation, civilrec.com, please visit for the summer programs that I just mentioned. May 20th, Fishing Derby, which is 8:45 to 10:15 at Kennedy Park. We also have the Community Flea Market on June 3rd from 8 to 1. We have a couple bus trips to Yankee Stadium on June 9th. Yankees Baltimore, and July 7th. Tickets are $95. You can go on our website to sign up. Summer movies in the park are scheduled for June 17th, 15th, and August 26th. And with that, progress.
Thank you, Councilman. Water and Sewer, Council President Buchanan.
Mayor, there's no minutes or reports. I just had a quick question, and I don't want to throw Jay on the spot, but I'm sorry. I'm on. Last year we sent, I believe you went over to Old Bridge regarding.
Let me interrupt. Doug, would you shut that door to the hallway, please? Sorry, Dan.
No problem.
Please continue.
Last year, I believe we sent you over to Old Bridge regarding the cargo trailers on Bordentown Avenue. I'm assuming their application went through because I see them up there, but did they require any landscaping on the other side to kind of like block off the view from Saraville?
I think what happened was Mr. Marcinzik, who lived across the street, came to the council and was concerned. He was indicating they were going to have direct access to Bordentown Avenue, which turned out not to be the case. The access is coming in from Old Waterworks Road. He also was concerned that the trees along the frontage were going to be knocked down, and that was not the case. They are remaining as they are. There's a wetland area right behind the berm and trees along the front, so there's no plantings proposed there. I think they have some additional landscaping, and also there are some storm drainage improvements that they're in the process of doing. But as far as the extent of the landscaping, I don't think there's much more than what's out there now.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Other than that, progress, Mayor.
Thank you. Under my report, Saturday we had the ALS Ride for Life, and I just want to personally thank Nicole Ranovich in the office. Did I say that right?
Ranowitz, got it.
Okay. She did a great job. She coordinated it, and it was wonderful, inspiring. Chris has had ALS for 24 years, and he is a trooper and a fighter, and a very eloquent man. I also want to thank the Saraville Police Department, the Public Works, and the firemen, the high school band, the Girl Scouts. It was we gave them a nice Saraville welcome on Saturday. And Terry was quietly behind the scenes playing whack-a-mole that all this happened. So thank you very much, Terry. Yesterday, I attended the wake of a retired Saraville police officer, John Pachakowski, and just a wonderful guy. Character, integrity. He took the motto of to protect and serve very seriously. A wonderful human being. The good Lord called him home. And if I may ask everyone for a moment of silence for Patch. Thank you, everyone. And with that, I'll go to the business administrator's report.
Thank you, Mayor. I need authorization to appoint Andrew Landstrom from part-time to full-time as fire prevention specialist in the Inspection of Buildings Department effective May 9th, 2017.
Next item.
Authorization to appoint William Fetsky as truck driver in the Department of Public Works effective May 9th, 2017.
Next item.
Authorization to reduce the park rental fee to a flat rate of $450 for the Saraville PBA Local 90H annual picnic at Brooks Park held on August 27th, 2017, as they will be responsible for the cleanup after the event, and authorizing the use of the portable stage and waiving the fees for use of that same.
Excuse me, Dan, can you use the new agenda that was put before you? There was an added item on Public Works.
I apologize.
Thank you.
Sorry, Mayor. I go back to Public Works. Authorization to award a bid for Saraville Free Public Library Meeting Room improvements to Triform Construction of Metuchen for their bid price of $447,500, subject to the waiver of minor irregularities.
Any objections? Next item.
And we covered personnel in the executive session of the first session.
Okay, thank you. CFO's report, Wayne Kranowski.
Yes, Councilwoman Novak mentioned the bond ordinances to be on the agenda for the next meeting.
Anything else, Wayne?
The road improvement ordinance won't be on the agenda for the next meeting, though, because We have to sit down with the engineer. I think the Public Works Committee has to finalize the streets. But these are the other items, the various other improvements, parks improvements, and vehicles and equipment.
Okay, thank you.
That's all I have.
Borough Engineers Report, Jay Cornell.
Thank you, Mayor. You already adopted a resolution awarding this contract, so no further action this evening.
Okay. Borough Attorney's Report, Michael Dupont.
No report, Mayor.
Okay, with that, I'll open the public portion for questions or comments on any and all issues. Are there any questions or comments? Being no questions or comments, I'll entertain a motion to close the public portion.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? If there's no other business before this governing body, I'll call for an adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, everyone.
Good night, Dan. Good night. Good night, Vicky.
Good night.
Good night, Ricky. Night.
There's been some
Steve.
confusion
Good night, Jay.
to that vote. That included my son.
Good night, Mary.
Good night.
Good night, Mr. Lembo.
Good night. Good night.
This is the certified. Okay? My
Thank
son
you, John.
is number 12.